Our team of tax attorneys and enrolled agents can stop collections and get you protected so you can take control of your financial future. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the Better Business Bureau, so call now. 800-687-5192. That's 800-687-5192. U.S. Tax Shield. 800-687-5192.
It's not easy being the one everyone counts on to keep your operation running, no matter the weather or supply chain hiccup. But we get you, Raymond in Buffalo, Maria in Miami, and Jules in Troy, taking control of everything that's under your control. At Grainger, we're here for you with high-quality supplies for every industry, plus real-time product availability and access to experts ready to help. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
ESPN. You're listening to 1050 ESPN, your home for New York Islanders hockey. WEPN, New York, a Good Karma Brands radio station.
On SportsCenter all night. One of Brooklyn's finest is heading to the Lone Star stage.
The West is so wide open that with that backcourt, it's super dangerous. If they're fully locked in, their ceiling is reaching the NBA Finals.
Joel Embiid and the Sixers face off against Julius Randle and the Knicks on ESPN.
Porter shoots, drives the bounce, Fournier fadeaway three, nails it! Evan Fournier, what a performance with 14.
And more from an action-packed Sunday on the hardwood.
Beautiful crossover, drives in, and dunks it over Murray. Two hands, what a crossover by Trey Murphy.
This is SportsCenter all night.
Kyrie is very, very gifted at what he does, but there is too much evidence to think that things are going to change no matter what team he is on.
Here's Jay Reynolds.
Everything's bigger in Texas. We'll see how this goes. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio, the ESPN app, Sirius XM Channel 80. Touchdowns in Arizona. That's on the way. But while Arizona will be the focus next Sunday, this Sunday turned out to have a focus on Texas and, yes, specifically Dallas.
The Brooklyn Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks.
We're really just on Kevin Durant watch now, right? Does Kevin Durant still want to stick around in Brooklyn even though Kyrie is gone?
Your days of attempting to win a title with the Nets are just not going to happen.
You have to show him that you are trying to improve the roster. And yes, trading Kyrie Irving doesn't improve the roster here.
For the health of the franchise, I think they're in a better place now.
Disgruntled in Brooklyn and now headed to the Mavericks. As we learned from Woj Sunday afternoon, the Nets are dealing Kyrie Irving to Dallas, a deal that involves 4 players and 3 draft picks in total.
The Dallas-Brooklyn talks accelerated quickly today, and the Mavericks wanted to get, I think both sides wanted to get a deal done. I think Dallas, listen, they may have put more in terms of draft compensation, draft pick compensation in the deal than they might have, but they wanted to get this thing done. They didn't want to lose Kyrie Irving elsewhere in the league, and also for Brooklyn, they were ready to be done with this Kyrie Irving situation. They got back what they hoped they would, which was a point guard, a wing player that they can plug into their lineup right now. They had Spencer Dinwiddie before. They're familiar with him. Dorian Finney-Smith, a very good wing player in this league. And now for Brooklyn, they want to get back to work. They've got the 3 draft picks they got in this trade. They have a future Philadelphia first-round pick, and they'll be aggressive with those picks to go out between now and Thursday's trade deadline to try to get more help around Kevin Durant, who, listen, quite honestly, this is an organization that wants Kevin Durant to stay committed, to stay the course with this reshaping of the roster. And I think they're going to continue between now and Thursday to do that.
ESPN insider Adrian Wojnarowski, Kyrie Irving, and Markieff Morris to Dallas, with the Nets receiving Dorian Finney-Smith and Spencer Dinwiddie in return, along with a first-round pick in 2029 and second-rounders in 27. and 29. Irving's tenure in Brooklyn, including missing nearly half of his games for injuries, vaccination refusal, his suspension this year for promoting a movie that contained anti-Semitic themes. This will end his tumultuous 4 seasons in Brooklyn, which followed rough finishes also in Boston and Cleveland. ESPN analyst Kendrick Perkins.
You ever heard of the word selfish? That's what Kyrie is. Like, just think about it, man. Like, he literally was playing with the greatest player of all time in my eyes in LeBron James. And he said he was tired of being under his shadows. And he went to Boston and happened to be on the team with Marcus Smart and Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, a nice young group. And he left them. And then all of a sudden he convinced Kevin Durant to leave Golden State and team up with him. And all of a sudden he left. Like, this is who Kyrie is. Like, he is a guy that is unpredictable. And what he's doing right now is, to me, we're talking about a guy that is box office. When Kyrie Irving is locked in and he's playing his best basketball, he's one of the most skilled players to ever touch the basketball. But he would never go down and be talked about as just Kyrie, one of the most skilled. It's going to be Kyrie Irving, the distraction, Kyrie Irving, the headache. And it's bad because we're talking about a guy that could possibly be a future Hall of Famer that has tarnished his legacy so much because of just him being a distraction.
Now he's going to a team with Jason Kidd, one of the all-time best point guards, a guy in Luka who is at his best when the ball's in his hands. So how much of a challenge is that going to be for the Dallas Mavericks to get those two to be able to play off each other?
Well, I think Luka realized that he took Jalen Brunson for granted, and I don't think that it's going to be that challenging. You look at this Dallas Maverick team, they went to the Western Conference Finals last year with Jalen Brunson and Luka as the 1-2 option. So if you could get a Kyrie Irving, okay, if you can get a Kyrie Irving, and that's going to be a tall task, to be fully locked in, the West is so wide open that with that backcourt is super dangerous. But that's a big if. But if they're fully locked in, their ceiling is reaching the NBA Finals.
30-year-old Kyrie Irving had opted into the final season of his deal this past summer, but requested a trade after failing to reach an agreement with Brooklyn on a contract extension. He's expected to arrive in Dallas on Monday, take the physical, and then make his Mavs debut against the Clippers on Wednesday. As for the impact on the two teams involved, what's it mean for the Nets now? Earlier on ESPN Radio, Christian Winfield from the New York Daily News.
We're really just on Kevin Durant watch now, right? Does Kevin Durant still want to stick around in Brooklyn even though Kyrie is gone? What's his relationship like with Ben Simmons? What can the Nets do to ultimately bolster this roster some more? Because you trade Kyrie, who, he had 48 points the other night. You get back Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith. They're good pieces, but are they going to beat the Bucks? Are they going to beat the Celtics? Are they going to beat even the Cavaliers, the Miami Heat, the Philadelphia 76ers in a 7-game series? Probably not, unless you're banking on Kevin Durant getting you 50 points a game. So I think the next couple days are going to be interesting because the Nets are still active, I've been hearing, and trying to add to this roster. And we don't know yet whether Kevin wants to stay or whether he wants to leave.
And as for the Mavericks in the Western Conference picture, ESPN front office insider Bobby Marks.
You get another closer in Irving, an all-star. Closer to where Denver is. I don't think they're closer to where the Nuggets are, where Golden State potentially could be here. You're right. You lose Finney-Smith, one of your better defenders. You basically are going to try to outscore teams right now. And, certainly Irving's a little bit of a wild card, though, but I do think it makes him, probably more of a legitimate threat than they were.
The numbers, as you would expect, moved on Sunday. The Mavs' odds for an NBA title have gone from 22-1 to 14-1. As for the Nets, they go from 10-1 to 18-1. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. On the court Sunday in New York, Knicks and Sixers. Philly was up early on in this one. They were up 21. But That was early on. By the fourth,
Brunson backs it up in front of Doc Rivers. Fakes the pass. Top it for Brunson. Up top, 4 to shoot. Drives the bounce. Fournier fadeaway 3. Nails it. Evan Fournier, what a performance with 14. He's made 4 threes, and the Knicks lead 91-84. Randall, 8 to shoot. Stiff arm to Brunson cutting in the lane. To Fournier, straight on 3. Nails it. Evan Fournier, 17 points, 5 threes, Knicks by 6 with under 5 to go.
He's hot like lava. 98.7 ESPN New York. Kevin Fournier off the bench for 17 for the Knicks, who are playing a night after their overtime loss to the Clippers. Knicks beat the Sixers. They rally from that early 21-point deficit to beat Philly 108-97. First 20-point comeback win since March of 22 last year at Sacramento. Sixers led by as many as 21, ties the Sixers' second largest blown lead under Doc Rivers. A first for Toronto this season. They had a turnaround in the fourth quarter.
20 seconds on the shot clock, 25 on the game clock. Scotty Barnes drives into the paint, bobbled it, got it back and floats it in. He's given the Raptors the lead with 20.7 seconds to play, and he barks like a dog down in Memphis.
Sportsnet 590, The Fan. Raptors, a 106-103 win over the Grizzlies. Toronto trailed by 8 points entering the fourth quarter. First win this season when trailing, entering the fourth. They had lost all 27 previously. They are now 1-27 when going to the fourth behind. In Indy, Cavs and Pacers.
8.5 to go. Garland, long 3. Oh, my. He hit that one from Fort Wayne. DJ from way out. Makes it 106-86, 21 for Garland.
WTAM, Cavs, a 122-103 win over the Pacers. Cleveland's largest win over Indy since a 21-point win in 2010 at Indiana. Saturday wasn't the best night for Golden State. Warriors did beat the Mavs, but...
Oh, McKinley Wright just ran into Steph Curry, who hobbles across the baseline.
Left foot, I think. Or left ankle.
And he definitely has a little hitch in his giddy-up.
Mark Castasher, ESPN Radio. Curry leaves the game. He has partial tears to a ligament and membrane in his left leg, as well as a lower leg contusion. He's expected to be out through the All-Star break. Coach Steve Kerr saying, quote, the main thing is he's going to be out a little bit. We're going to reevaluate in a few days. And the good news is he's going to be back. We don't exactly know when, but it's not an injury that's going to keep him out for the season. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio. We had football on Sunday, although no pads.
Eli Manning getting the Gatorade bath from the boys, undefeated in Pro Bowl flag footballs. Christian McCaffrey, George Kittle, and others saying, you know what, Eli? Congrats on beating the hell out of Peyton Manning in the re-envisioned Pro Bowl games. 35-33.
Pat McAfee called it on ABC and ESPN. And NFL putting on the flag football game to culminate the Pro Bowl. NFC comes out on top. NFC was trailing in the cumulative scoring. Eli Manning turning to quarterback Kirk Cousins for the third and final flag football matchup, and Cousins responds.
How do you feel right now, Eli?
I'm feeling great. It's a big win. Fired up for these guys. I told Kirk the other day, I said, hey, you're the starter in this game. You can go first. You were pretty good in the fourth quarter this season. You know, we're down a little bit. I'd like for you to be the guy. And sure enough, we're down, and he led us to victory.
No doubt, Kirk Cousins, 8 game-winning drives this year in the fourth quarter, and you come back from behind and lead your team to victory. How you feel about that, my guy?
Yeah, Griff, it was a lot of fun. It's just so fun to talk ball with these guys. We all kind of speak the same language at the end of the day. And I went against Eli. You went against Eli so many years, and so it's fun to have him on your side now. And that same calm demeanor that I would see across the field when we played him still has as a head coach.
Cousins and Manning with RG3 after the win on Sunday, and now it's on to the season's final matchup. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio.
Once in a lifetime opportunities we got right in front of us in our hands. So what you gonna do?
Dives for the far front pylon. Touchdown! He's gonna score! Jalen Hurts.
When we control the things we can, we damn good.
Sends a tackle up the right sideline. 10.
Pack your bags. We're going to the Super Bowl.
We are, as we cannot wait.
With the Pro Bowl tucked into the week between Championship Sunday and the Super Bowl, this was the bye week for the Eagles and Chiefs. That doesn't mean Sunday was without a touchdown. 2, in fact.
And their quarterback working toward healing that sprained ankle. The Chiefs arrived Sunday for their 3rd Super Bowl in just 4 years. The team landed at Goldwater Air Guard Base around 4 o'clock Eastern. With the Chiefs.
Next, Sports Center All Night continues at ESPN Radio.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
If I'm KD, I'm staying tight and I'm trying to figure it out because if I leave again, I can't keep chasing.
This and more, Monday, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. This is Sports Center All Night.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cap.
Afternoons on 710. Well, I'll tell you something about Russ. I don't know where he got that necklace he was rocking last night, but I got to get me one of them. I don't know where AD got those glasses, but I got to get some of those too. I don't know where they get their stuff, and I probably can't afford it, but there's got to be like knockoffs somewhere at a swap meet that I can buy this stuff, because, man, those guys look dope AF after a game. It's Sedano and Cap, the LA Afternoon Takeover.
Monday at 4 p.m.
on 710 ESPN.
Diabetes, high blood pressure, anxiety meds, everyone's on them. If you're a 50-year-old male, maybe a bit porky, and you may even have type 2 diabetes, $1 million of term insurance may only cost you about $200 a month. Call Term Provider. Speak with Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Big Lou will find a term life policy for you even if you have type 2 diabetes, are overweight, or have high blood pressure. Term Provider has helped thousands of people like you who think they can't afford term life insurance to buy $1 million of affordable term life for you. All you need to do is call Big Lou at 800-511-3535. Lou will make sure the scales are tipped in your favor. Call 800-511-3535. Big Lou will answer your call and work to fit you into a term life policy that you can afford. Remember, Big Lou's like you. He's on meds too. Call 800-511-3535. 800-511-3535.
Having low income can mean making tough choices. Choosing between paying for food or medication or a place to live is a reality for many people. Do you know someone who could use some extra help? Find out about the Supplemental Security Income Program, SSI, administered by Social Security. You could receive monthly SSI payments if your income and financial resources are low and you are 65 or older, or an adult or child with a disability or who is blind. SSI is money you can use to help pay for basic needs, like putting food on the table, keeping the lights on, paying the rent. It can mean new shoes for growing feet or help with medical needs. Call 1-800-772-1213 or visit ssa.gov/SSI to schedule an appointment or start to apply today. That's ssa.gov/SSI. This message produced by Social Security at U.S. taxpayer expense.
So what's a great way to spread awareness that driving high is illegal everywhere? A catchy song, of course. Friendly reminder, don't drive high. If you feel different, you drive different. Brought to you by NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Not completing high school is more of a social thing than it was an academic thing. Even though all these years have passed, I still had that longing to have my diploma.
At age 30, Carissa finished her high school diploma.
If you're even considering getting your high school diploma, you can do it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
Talking to your kids about the dangers of vaping can be hard. Getting them to listen to hot gossip is easy. So here's some drama you could share with your kid. Dude, Did you hear about Cassie and Jake? No, but did you hear that vaping can cause irreversible lung damage and nicotine affects brain development? Nuh-uh. You don't need to gossip if you want to have an open conversation about vaping. So if you want to get tips on when and how to talk to your kids, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Keyshawn, J-Will, and Max in the morning.
LA Sports Talk all day long. 710
ESPN.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. On the college floor Sunday, a matchup of top 5 teams, rematch of last year's national championship game. This year's number 1 and unbeaten, South Carolina on the road at 5th-ranked Connecticut.
Gamecocks will try to work as much clock as possible. Work it left side to Beal. The shot clock is now halfway down. Out to Boston. Between the rings, Zia Cook. Shot clock at 11 now. You got to run your offense. Cross court it to Boston. Wide open for 3. Bang! Aaliyah Boston missed 2 wide open looks earlier today. She didn't miss that one, and the Gamecocks lead 72-61.
Brad Muller from Learfield. Aaliyah Boston scoring 23 of her 26 in the second half, including 14 points in the fourth quarter. South Carolina beats UConn 81-77. South Carolina coach Dawn Staley.
You know, for your psyche, like for us, you know, to win this game, when we've beat UConn in the regular season, great things happen in the postseason. So this was our only opportunity for us to play. You got to have some success. You got to feel some success, or else you play them again and you've lost that game. It does give you a little bit of doubt.
It's an 81-77 win on Sunday over UConn for South Carolina. 29th consecutive win, tied for the longest win streak in program history, tied for the 3rd longest in SEC history. Aaliyah Boston, 26 points, 11 rebounds for his 76th career double-double. UConn didn't have as much on the line as they did last year when it was the championship matchup, but there was some intensity Sunday, and Coach Gino Auriemma wound up being teed up late in the 4th, frustrated with the officiating, and wound up spiking a water bottle.
Yeah, the technical was stupid. You know, I didn't say anything for, a long time. And I just felt like, I don't know if you want to bring Lou in and you can see the bruises on her body. It's just appalling what the teams do to her now. And it's not basketball anymore.
Speaking of basketball on the court, UConn 0 points off the bench. 5th time that's happened this season. That's the most in Division I. 3rd-ranked LSU, a 72-66 win over Texas A&M for the 1,000th win in LSU program history. LSU matching South Carolina at 23-0, the only unbeaten teams in D1. Number 4, Indiana, 69-46 win over Purdue. Indiana off to a 22-1 start, best start in program history. 2nd-ranked Stanford loses to Washington 72-67. First win for Washington against Stanford since 2016. Sports Center All Night, ESPN Radio. On the men's side, number 3, Houston, pulling away from Temple.
Marcus Sasser into the front court. Leah Coruscant comes alive onto their feet. Tremont March to Sharp between the rings. Sharp the bounce pass to Sasser at the logo. Sasser off the screen over to the right wing. Left wing, Jarris Walker. Walker off the dribble, straight on 3. Got it! Jarris Walker, the silencer. 23 for Walker, and the Cougars up by 8.
Brandon from Learfield. Houston, an 81-65 win over Temple. 8th straight road win for Houston. In the Big Ten, Michigan pulls away for a 77-69 win over Ohio State. Nebraska at home, 72-63 over Penn State. Northwestern by 2 at Wisconsin, 54-52. Saturday, it was top-ranked Purdue falling to Indiana. ESPN analyst Tom Crean says, not really time for the Boilermakers to panic.
What we learned? You know what we learned? Purdue's going to be okay. They really are. Zach Edey gets 33 and 18. He's just unstoppable in one-on-one coverage, whether he's offensive rebounding the ball, whether he's scoring in the post. Now he's scoring with his left hand. He's impossible to defend in the middle of the floor. But this defense from Indiana, Trace Jackson Davis had tremendous energy. All right, the entire game, Indiana brought it. Getting out and running like that, Jalen Hood-Schifino is a star. What Indiana's got to figure out is how they're going to bottle that up on the road. They've got 5 road losses. You take away an offensive rebound, okay, that Trace Jackson Davis got against Minnesota off the free throw line, it might be 6. They're way too good for that. When they're playing with that type of pressure and pace and energy, they're really good. But the other thing with Purdue, Braden Smith, Fletcher Loyer, okay, when you go on the road in the Big Ten, there are road games. When you're at Purdue and you go to Indiana, it's a totally different deal. And it'll be the same for Indiana when they go to Purdue. It's different. Those guys went 5 of 20 from the field, 1 of 7 from 3, but they settled in. They made some really good plays. They're going to be better for it. Everybody else at Purdue will be better for that game as well.
Purdue falling to 22-2 with the loss on Saturday. Where do the Nets rank now? That's next. Sports Center all night at ESPN Radio.
Hey, it's Green, a huge weekend in sports as we count it down to the quarterback carousel and to LeBron James breaking the greatest record in NBA history. We'll be the place to talk about it all week long. It's Greeny, starting 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN Radio and the ESPN app.
Don't miss Travis and Sliwa.
Weekday mornings after Keystone, Jay, Will, and Mac.
You breathe between cookies? I was such a disgusting monster. Laying down on my couch, my head's propped up on the end. Yep. I'm watching TV, and I'm shoving cookies into my mouth as fast. I'm not even tasting them. I'm just shoving them in one after the. I haven't swallowed the first one before the second one's going in.
Trav and Slee, live from LA Live, Monday morning at 10 a.m.
After Keyshawn, Jay, Will, and Max. You could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Now that we've covered something you could do, it's time for sports stuff you definitely could not do.
You could not have hit that field goal. Sorry, but it's true. 37 yards doesn't sound very far, but you'd be lucky to cover even a fraction of that. And that's in perfect conditions without 11 giant men trying to fold you like origami.
But you definitely could save big when you bundle your home, auto, and other vehicles with Progressive. Coverage from Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and third-party insurers. Bundle discount not available in all states or situations.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
Welcome to AutoZone. Thinking about gas mileage? If your check engine light is on, it may be affecting your MPGs. But the free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help. With the most complete free warning light report backed by technician-verified fixes, you'll know what's affecting your gas mileage and more. And you don't have to drive too far to find the fix. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service is available at all 6,200 stores.
Get in zone, AutoZone.
See details at AutoZone.com.
If I could be you,
and you could be me for just 1 hour,
if you could find a way
to get inside each other's mind,
walk a mile in my shoes. Walk a mile in my shoes.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
We've all felt left out. And for some, that feeling lasts more than a moment. We can change that. Learn how at belongingbeginswithus.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Walk a mile in my shoes.
Slip the coffee check, talk to doctor now and share.
Nearly 1 in 2 U.S. adults have high blood pressure. That's why it's important to self-monitor your blood pressure in 4 easy-to-remember steps. It starts with a monitor. Be next to talk to your doctor about your blood pressure numbers. Get down with your blood pressure. Self-monitoring is power. Visit manageyourbp.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council, the American Heart Association, and the American Medical Association in partnership with the Office of Minority Health and Health Resources and Services Administration.
Blood clots can happen to anyone. Up to 900,000 people in the United States are affected by blood clots each year, and 100,000 die from them. Blood clots don't discriminate. You or a loved one could be at risk right now. The good news is blood clots can be prevented. Knowing the risks and symptoms are key. On average, 1 person in the United States dies of a blood clot every 6 minutes. Don't let that be you or someone you know. Learn more at stoptheclot.org/spread the word.
Mama, what does the chicken say?
Chicken. Oh, okay.
And wolf?
Oh, a wolf.
Ooh! What about the tiny dog? Cat. Owl. Dolphin. What does the turkey say? Whale.
Whale sound.
Do the giraffe.
Giraffe, really? Okay. Giraffe.
You're not going to get it all right. Just make sure you nail the big stuff, like making sure your kids are buckled correctly in the right seat for their age and size. Get it right.
Visit NHTSA.gov.
/ the right seat. Brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration and the Ad Council.
LA's mega sports station.
710 ESPN.
Sports Center All Night continues with Jay Reynolds.
Sports Center All Night presented by Progressive Insurance. Looking for a career path with flexibility and great pay and benefits? Go to progressive.com/careers and apply online today. Bundle today at progressive.com.
Half-hour headlines on Sports Center All Night.
NFC captures the Pro Bowl. Both Super Bowl teams are now in Arizona for next weekend. Kyrie Irving is now with the Mavs.
Woj reporting the Brooklyn Nets are trading Kyrie Irving to the Dallas Mavericks.
They still hope they can win, but the reality is you can't replace Kyrie Irving.
The Mavs have put themselves in a position to be the front runner in the Western Conference.
The drama has become too overwhelming.
Kyrie Irving playing fewer than 150 games combined over the past 4 seasons, though talent-wise has remained a max-level player when he was on the court. Kyrie Irving averaging 27 points, 5 rebounds, almost 5.5 assists this season. Sunday, we learned he's being dealt to Dallas for a couple of players and 3 draft picks. Dallas making the move, knowing the past that Irving has. Cleveland, Boston, Brooklyn. ESPN Mavs reporter Tim McMahon.
I mean, listen, you don't make this deal thinking that you've got a guy who's going to be, blending in with the Boy Scouts. Like, you understand the risk that comes along with Kyrie. Mavericks essentially made the decision that the skill justifies the risk. And that's what this is. Now, it's kind of a trial period for both sides, right? But I think more so, if we're being frank, for Kyrie Irving. He's the one who has the leverage, who kind of has all the cards to play. They're not going to talk extension because he wants a 4-year deal. Kyrie, we know he's the clear number 2 here, but it's a lot closer. And I think that, it's a totally different type of ego management type of situation. I think in terms of effectiveness, it'll click quickly, and they'll be just fine in terms of sharing the ball. Like I said, the ego management aspect of things, they're going to have an awareness of that, and Luka in particular, I think, is going to have an awareness as the established MVP candidate who did want this trade to happen and is welcoming Kyrie onto his team.
The LA Lakers and Nets had discussed a possible deal for Irving Friday and Saturday. Ultimately, though, it was Dallas's proposal that gave the Nets a better chance to surround Kevin Durant with players now, as well as the opportunity to acquire draft picks for the future. Earlier on ESPN Radio, Frank Isola, analyst from the Yes Network, who you have, of course, seen on Around the Horn.
Spencer Dinwiddie had been with the Nets, and he's a very good player. And Dorian Finney-Smith is a good two-way player as well. I mean, the big thing for the Nets will be, getting Kevin Durant back and healthy again. He looks like he's pretty close to coming back. And he was playing as well as anybody in the league before he suffered that knee injury. And also, Ben Simmons was playing well when Kevin Durant was there. Without Kevin Durant, Ben Simmons can't do anything. And right now he's out with, quote marks, knee sore. So I don't really know what's up with that. Are they a championship contender? I'm not so sure. I do know this. They do have some time now, and they could make some additional moves prior to Thursday's trade deadline, which is at 3:00 Eastern. So some things can be done. But, they got guys like Nick Claxton, who's probably going to be in the running for most improved player in the year. And the one thing about Kevin Durant, and that's had that 12-game winning streak, the guy's still a brilliant player. I still think things will work because Kevin Durant is that good of a player. I think it would be wise of the Nets to try to maybe make one more move, because who knows how Kevin Durant's going to react to this. Is he going to be okay with it?
Let's assume the Nets do not make any more moves before the deadline, Frank. Losing Kyrie, the basketball player, is a big blow for them from a talent standpoint. Where do you put them at in the Eastern Conference if this is their roster going forward?
Boston, for me, is the most championship-ready team in the NBA. Like, they got everything. They got so much size. And I think the experience of going through the finals last year, I just don't think the Nets could beat Boston. You know, they've lost 10 in a row to them. So I don't know. I just don't see them winning 4 out of 7 games. Now, if somebody were to pick off Boston, you know, that maybe a better matchup for the Nets might be the Milwaukee Bucks. So if somebody could pick off Boston, maybe the Nets would have a chance. But I still put them behind Boston. I put them behind Milwaukee. I put them behind Philadelphia. And to be fair, I know they haven't had a great season yet, but I even would put them behind Miami. But there's something about Miami, the know-how and the experience in that team. I think the Nets could beat Cleveland in a playoff series. I think they could beat the Knicks in a playoff series. I'm not so sure about those other 4 teams.
Dallas getting Kyrie Irving. Dallas also getting Markieff Morris in the deal. The Mavericks are trading Spencer Dinwiddie and Dorian Finney-Smith and a package of draft picks to the Nets in the Kyrie Irving deal. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio. On the court Sunday, Timberwolves and a short-handed Nuggets team.
And with 4, now with 3, setting up for the step-back 3. Here it comes. There it goes. At the buzzer, he drains it. And the Timberwolves do win the third quarter. +3 in the frame.
WCCO with the call. Timberwolves a 128-98 rout of Denver. Nikola Jokic, Jamal Murray, Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope all did not play for Denver, and the Nuggets wind up losing by 30. Timberwolves' largest win of the season, the Nuggets' largest loss of the season. Anthony Edwards, team-high 20 points on 8 of 17 shooting, his 116th career 20-point game. Magic and Hornets.
Here's Fultz now. Baseline dribble gives to a cutting Banchero. Easy two-handed jam. Move without the ball, and you're going to get wide open looks because Charlotte is not moving at all defensively right now.
FM 96.9 the game. Magic a 119-113 win over the Hornets. First game this season with multiple Orlando players reaching the 20-point, 10-rebound threshold. Paolo Banchero, 4th game this season with at least 20 points, 10 rebounds, and 5 assists. His 28th career 20-point game. Pelicans roll over the Kings.
Graham baseline, bounce feed left corner. Trey, they close out on him, though, with Murray. Oh, beautiful crossover. Drives in and dunks it over Murray. 2 hands. What a crossover by Trey Murphy. And he stands there. That's a dunk contest. Contested.
Trey Murphy, 30 points on 9 of 11 shooting. Murphy and the Pelicans go on to a 136-104 win over the Kings. Pelicans 32-point win, the largest win this season. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio. Steph Curry injured again. Missed 11 games with an injured shoulder earlier this season. Now a leg injury will keep him out at least through the All-Star break. Warriors have to deal without their star once again. Earlier on ESPN Radio, C.J. Holmes from the San Francisco Chronicle.
Once again, Jordan Poole's going to have the chance to, step into Curry's shoes, do his best Curry impersonation, and show why he's making $128 million guaranteed over the next 4 years. They're going to need the consistent Klay Thompson, not the sporadic, erratic Klay Thompson. And they're going to need all these role players, guys like Anthony Lamb, guys like Ty Jerome, two-way guys, might I add. They're coming up towards the end of coming up to their 50-minute game mark. Quicker and quicker by each passing game. But long story short, it's going to have to be, and it might sound cliche, but it's going to have to be an all-around team effort.
Warriors went 6-5 without Steph Curry when he injured his shoulder earlier this season. He's averaging over 29 points per game this season. Won't be playing this week or at any point until the All-Star break, most likely. SportsCenter all night, ESPN Radio.
These are once-in-a-lifetime opportunities we got right in front of us in our hands. So what you going to do? Dives to the far front pylon. Touchdown! He's going to score! Jalen Hurts. If we can show the things we can, we damn good. Sends a tackle up the right sideline. 10. Pack your bags. We're going to the Super Bowl. We are, as we cannot wait.
We've had coaching moves this past week, Tom Brady's retirement and the Pro Bowl, but now focus is on the Super Bowl. Spotlight on the 2 quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes sat down with our Jeff Darlington.
What sense of pride does it give you to reach the Super Bowl with a team that looks very different, doesn't have Tyreek Hill, for instance?
I understand how much talent I had around me my first few years, and I just relied on them to continue to make plays happen. And I think this year, it wasn't that I didn't have talent around me, because I do have a lot of talent around me, but I had to take a more leadership role and grow up a little bit. There's only like 10 of us that have been here since we won the Super Bowl the last time. And it's not about the one player. It's not about all the coaches. It's about the culture that we built as a group.
I know that you had mentioned last week that you talked to Tom. What advice did Tom Brady give you?
He just talks to me about not only the game, but how to kind of will guys to win and how to keep that in that drive that I have. That gives me the motivation every day to go out here and be my best, have a chance to be in this game and have a chance to win it.
How many different people do you get to talk to?
I talked to Tom and I talked to Peyton. Those are the two main guys that I'm able to kind of text and have conversations with. And then I talked to guys like my dad and LaTroy Hawkins, who I've had relationships with my whole entire life.
Mahomes is hurt. He got hit hard on this play.
How does this ankle injury rank in terms of the physical challenges that you've had to overcome at such a critical time?
Yeah, it's definitely up there. I mean, it doesn't feel good. Having 2 weeks to kind of get it ready is definitely going to help. And I'll try to be close as I can to 100%.
I think a lot of people would be interested in knowing, what did it feel like when you did run for those 5 yards on that ankle?
You feel it. I mean, it's there. It was there the entire game. But I think when your adrenaline's pumping and you're playing, you're just trying to be a competitor and make some stuff happen. I've always believed that injuries, I mean, as physical as they are, a lot of it's mental. And you have to tell yourself that you can do more than your body even thinks it can. And that's what I try to do.
Patrick Mahomes making it back to the Super Bowl. He'll see Jalen Hurts and the Eagles offense on the other side. Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts sitting down with our Matt Hasselbeck.
When I was growing up, I remember when Doug Williams was the starting quarterback in the Super Bowl, won the Super Bowl. And here we are, first time ever, two starting quarterbacks who happen to be black going head to head. How important is that to you?
It'll be a moment. It'll be a moment. You know, my grandparents, my father, my parents, they see it because they grew up in a different time we're growing up in now. But it's a special moment. You know, it's a historical moment. And for the young kids watching at home, maybe it's a kid out there that their coach wants them to try another position because they think they can't do it. I'm glad to be someone that is uplifting people to keep going and keep fighting, because you can do it. Put your mind to it.
Family on 3, 1, 2, 3. So I played with a guy named Seneca Wallace. One of the teams he played for was the Green Bay Packers. Green Bay Packers been around a long time. Seneca Wallace was the first black starting quarterback ever in the history of the Green Bay Packers.
Right.
You come to a team with a very rich history of elite starting quarterbacks. Is that special to you to be a part of this team, this organization, because of that?
Yeah, I think it is. It's something that I've realized as the journey has gone on, and I've always had my memories of McNabb, Rodney Peete, and Randall Cunningham, and Michael Vick, of course. To have an opportunity to lead this place, I think it's special.
Who want to come out here and dominate?
He lets it fly, and it is caught for a touchdown, A.J. Brown! You cannot throw a football better than that. I mean, it was perfect.
You and Patrick Mahomes, number 1 and number 2, highest QBR as a pocket passer. Why do you think people sleep on you as a pocket passer?
I think beauty is in the eye of the beholder. I play the game in a very unique way. Me personally, being able to be consistent in the run game, be consistent in the passing game, and mentally know what my plan is and knowing what I want to do based off of my preparation. And I think that's the beautiful part about all of this is everybody has an opinion about something, but everybody in their opinions don't deposit at the bank.
Eagles quarterback Jalen Hurts sitting down with our Matt Hasselbeck. Sports Center all night, ESPN Radio this weekend saw the Pro Bowl take place in Las Vegas. One quarterback that won't be there much longer, Derek Carr, although he was there this weekend. As for his future, ESPN insider Adam Schefter.
Now that Tom Brady has retired, Derek Carr figures to be the next quarterback to be on the move because he has in his contract a clause that says $40 million becomes fully guaranteed on February 15th, 3 days after the Super Bowl. So by February 15th, which is in 10 days, the Raiders must decide whether to trade Derek Carr or to release Derek Carr. Now, they have given him permission to seek trades from other teams as long as those teams have reached a compensation agreement with the Raiders first. So the Raiders have had some conversations, and now we wait to see whether there's somebody that can compensate the Raiders, probably compensate Derek Carr in the form of a new contract perhaps, and whether there can be a trade or the Raiders release him.
Raiders have granted Carr permission to speak with teams that have already agreed to the compensation that Las Vegas is looking for in a potential trade. Retires in 2023, and he'll head straight to the broadcast booth. It's not who you think. That's next. Sports Center all night. It's ESPN Radio.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max.
I don't know how you can ever question Kevin Durant's legacy when it's all said and done. Ain't nobody winning chips by themselves. That's never been the case. You know what I mean?
This and more, Monday, starting at 6 Eastern on ESPN Radio and on ESPN2. More Sports Center all night. Next. Cracking LeBron's road to history.
LeBron has brought the crowd to its feet.
Hear every three-pointer.
Three-pointer by LeBron. It's good.
Every dunk.
To LeBron. Slam dunk.
Every one of LeBron's points.
LeBron with the dagger.
The flagship radio station of LeBron and the Lakers. 710 ESPN.
This is where the king makes history.
Travis and Sliwa.
Right after Key, Jay, and Max.
Are you still doing Sober January?
I didn't on Saturday. I took Saturday off.
Back Monday morning at 10 a.m.
on 710 ESPN.
The future depends on teachers. Every day, teachers are shaping our tomorrows, starting their students on journeys that will change the course of history. Right now, in a classroom somewhere in the United States, there's a teacher inspiring a future scientist who will make preventing pandemics their life's work, sharpening the mind of an aspiring environmentalist who will help combat climate change, and generating possibilities for a student who will be the first in their family to graduate college. It all starts with teachers who meet challenges with creativity, who reinvent education for the future, who work towards a school system that lifts up every child, regardless of race, income, or zip code, and to enable the full potential of our students, our communities, and our country. Explore a career that leaves a legacy you can be proud of. Shape the future. Teach. Learn more and receive free support at teach.org.
Every moment of the Lakers happens here.
Alley-oop! AD slams it, and the place is going nuts!
You gotta do it big when you represent the purple and gold.
Double pass. LeBron with a tomahawk dunk.
I do it too big, too big, too big. I do it too big.
No matter what, we just got to build and keep stacking winning habits.
Stolen by LeBron. There's LeBron on a breakaway. Another windmill.
I do it too big.
The biggest show coming out of Hollywood is LeBron, AD, and the Lake Show.
AD, three-pointer, good. Anthony Davis is doing it all.
I do it too big, too big, too big.
Just staying locked in. Our team is locked in right now. We're very focused on both sides of the ball.
Three-pointer by Reeves. It's good! Austin Reeves with a dagger.
This is where the big shots fall for the purple and gold. 710 ESPN.
Your home of Lakers basketball this season.
And the place is going nuts!
Hey, son, how are you feeling?
I'm fine, Pops.
What's on your mind?
I can't explain it.
When your kid can't find the language, find the lyrics. Start a conversation at sounditouttogether.org. Brought to you by Ad Council and Pivotal Ventures.
Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max in the morning on LA's mega sports station. LA Sports Talk all day long.
710 ESPN.
Sports Center all night continues with Jay Reynolds.
We're taking you to GJ and Max, 6 o'clock Eastern time here on ESPN Radio. Sports Center all night, presented by Progressive Insurance. We will have a Monday finish at Pebble Beach. Justin Rose, 9 under in the 19 holes that he played on Sunday in the weather-delayed Pebble Beach Pro-Am. That gives him a 2-shot lead heading to Monday's finish. Decent chance to win for the first time in 4 years. He still has the back 9 to play. The tournament was postponed with weather on Saturday, and not everybody was able to finish on Sunday. Packers quarterback Aaron Rodgers won the Pro-Am portion of the competition, however. In Los Angeles, last year, NASCAR's run at the Coliseum for its exhibition race to open the year turned out to be a pretty good hit. This year, not quite the same. 150 laps on the quarter-mile track. There were just 5 cautions last year. This year, there were 25. And the laps under yellow didn't count. Martin Truex Jr. does wind up with the win. Speaking of NASCAR, Kevin Harvick's retirement this year won't leave him without work. He had announced last month he'll retire from competition at the end of the year. Sunday, Fox saying they'll bring him up to the booth for next season. He's been a regular guest analyst since 2015. Harvick is beginning his 23rd Cup season. He's the 2014 Cup champion and tied for 9th on NASCAR's all-time wins list with 60 career wins. He has 13 consecutive playoff appearances. On the court, another outing, another triple-double.
And Penn State tried to get the ball in the paint, turned it over. Here's Clark coast to coast, drops it behind her back for McKenna Warnock. Warnock with 6.
Still making sick moves out there, but, you know, she rewards her teammates for making those hustle plays.
Here's Clark, deep three-pointer, swishes this one straight away, just at the tip of the Nittany Lion logo.
He got out of her like a cannon. It didn't have as much arch as you see sometimes, but it was still looked great.
Iowa guard Caitlin Clark with the 9th triple-double of her career on Sunday, tying her for 2nd in NCAA women's basketball history. Hawkeyes 95-51 rout over Penn State. Clark had 23 points, 14 assists, and 10 rebounds, hit 9 of her 17 shots from the floor. As for the top sounds from Sunday, we turn to Steve Lennox.
Number 3.
Jay, Raptors in Memphis Sunday for a matchup against a suddenly struggling Grizzlies. Scotty Barnes came up big down the stretch for Toronto. The call, Sportsnet 590, The Fan.
20 seconds on the shot clock, 25 on the game clock. Scotty Barnes drives into the paint, bobbled it, got it back and floats it in. He's given the Raptors the lead with 20.7 seconds to play, and he barks like a dog down in Memphis.
Number 2.
Sunday at Madison Square Garden, Knicks down by 21 in the first half against the 76ers. Fourth quarter, Evan Fournier adding to the Knicks lead. The Knicks, their largest comeback win of the season. The call, 98.7 ESPN New York.
Randall, 8 to shoot. Stiff arm to Brunson cutting in the lane to Fournier, straight on 3. Nails in. Evan Fournier. 17 points, 5 threes, Knicks by 6 with under 5 to go.
He's hot like lava.
Number 1.
We started with the NBA, we closed with the NBA. Follow me here. Pelicans ended a 10-game losing streak with their victory Saturday against the Lakers. Sunday, Pelicans made it 2 straight wins. Trey Murphy came up huge in the win for the Pels. The call, ESPN New Orleans.
Graham baseline, bounce feed left corner. Trey, they close out on him, though, with Murray. Oh, beautiful crossover. Drives in and dunks it over Murray. 2 hands. What a crossover by Trey Murphy. And he stands there. That's a dunk contest. Contested.
Highlights on the hardwood on Sunday. We are expecting another one this week as LeBron James will return to the court 36 points away from breaking the NBA career scoring record as he moved to within 36 with the Lakers. Lost to New Orleans on Saturday. Continuing to chase Kareem Abdul-Jabbar's record earlier on ESPN Radio, Chris Rim from New York Times.
These guys, you know, say, especially LeBron, he's very calculated in how he pushes things out. So he said he's playing the game, you know, not to get the record and all those kinds of things, which is the right thing to say. But it seems like on the court he's actually doing that. Like he hasn't been forcing any shots on this streak. Like the game is becoming natural. I actually thought last night down the stretch he was going to try to maybe score a little bit more so that he could cut the point total for under 30 points maybe in Los Angeles so he could get it. But he didn't because now he has to score 36 on Tuesday to break the record in Los Angeles, which everyone kind of thought he would want to do.
Lakers playing at home on Tuesday against the Thunder. It's a game that you'll hear here on ESPN Radio. On Wednesday, the Mavericks will be in L.A. facing the Clippers, and Kyrie Irving will be with Dallas, assuming he passes his physical. Dallas landing Kyrie Irving in a trade with the Nets on Sunday. As for the prognosis for Dallas in the West, ESPN's George Sedano.
I think ultimately the fit is going to be fantastic once they get their chemistry down, because if anything, Luka resembles LeBron more offensively than Kevin Durant. And I don't even think that's close, to be frank with you, in regards to stylistically how LeBron and Luka play. So Kyrie has that experience with a player like that. And I think that the Mavs have put themselves in a position to be potentially the front runner in the Western Conference, in a Western Conference that's all jumbled together and is really wide open right now.
Dallas currently sitting 6th in the West, but as you heard, it's a logjam. There are just 5 games separating the 11 teams between spots 3 through 13. It's Monday, February 6th. Babe Ruth, born on this day 128 years ago. Kyrie Irving goes to Dallas. Super Bowl week is underway in Arizona. Key, Jay, and Max have it all next. I'm Jay Reynolds. It's ESPN Radio.
Coming up next, Keyshawn, J. Will, and Max on.
The fun way to drive home is with Sedano and Cap.
Afternoons on 710.
Well, I mean, everybody knows anybody who eats milk chocolate is just a child.
They are a child.
Come on.
It's for children.
Come on, for little babies.
Dark chocolate, it is healthier for you. And secondly, milk chocolate is just like, it just tastes like sugar.
They're like little kids. Milk chocolate. Get out of here with that.
It's Sedano and Cap, the LA Afternoon Takeover.
Monday at 4 p.m.
On 710 ESPN.
Let me guess. Unknown caller. You could reduce the number of unwanted calls and emails with online privacy protection. The latest innovation from Discover will help regularly remove your personal info, like your name and address, from 10 popular people search websites that could sell your data. And we'll do it for free. Activate in the Discover app. See terms and learn more at discover.com/online privacy protection.
How long does it take to tackle a home project? With